Just don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in. I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go. Everybody else is like, still the weekend. You fucking go.
Hey,
yo,
what up?
Yo, what's the deal? It's been a
What's
little minute.
up?
Yes,
You
yes.
know, the gang's all together. We're back in the building.
The gang is all together. How about that?
You know what I
Shout
mean?
out to Amir Silly's bow tie. Let's clap for the bow tie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We
Let me
here.
tell you something. Nobody wear him like Amir. You hear me?
True indeed.
Nobody went. I've heard a secret meeting was taking place at the Palace in Chicago, and
Right.
Farrakhan and Mustafa and all of them was plotting how to get his bow tie.
Right.
They said, because it was like, yo, this brother right here, this brother is good for the nation, make us look good, get him out here on Sabres Day, probably put him in the basement, and then find out where all the bow ties is, because Amir got an assortment. He ain't got no one bow tie. Yeah, you're looking great, brother.
I just want to say, New York King, I've never seen you in a bow tie. When the last time you wore a bow tie?
A photo shoot right before COVID. The Kings had a photo shoot. We in Salsa in the middle of the day, and when we got to a certain theme of the suit, Capone had all these bow ties, right? So the fucking whole production shut down because I was like, I like your idea, I like where you're going with it, but I'm not really a bow tie nigga. So what they did was, the compromise was, you know what, you're gonna freak it. We understand you don't want to wear the bow tie. So how about we're gonna put the cognac glasses out, the cigars, and you wear it like that CEO that just got off work, like leave it's open and dripping. You know what I'm talking about? Like they all got it on. You could tell I had it on. That's the whole thing of the picture. It looked like we all sipping and we all had bow ties on, even though I never wore them.
Right. So you had that Sammy Davis Jr. look from the '60s in Vegas.
I had the Frank Sinatra, nigga. I'm king of New York.
Oh, I hear that. I purchased one of those high-end bow ties from one of the fellas off of Instagram that live in Jersey, and literally this bow tie was like $100. I wore that bow tie for a week.
But see,
I wore the bow tie with a t-shirt.
I think it'll look good on you. Certain people, to me, I don't know if it's my height that make me feel that way or whatever, but I like to see it on certain gentlemen. I ain't gonna front. I'll be like, that's dope shit on. Like Quincy kills bow ties.
Right.
He's a little fire hydrant built nigga. He kills them bow ties, bro. Little short motherfucker throw his suit on, get his little stogie in his hand. That's why we call him CEO. That's why we call him Diddy. He got all the CEO nicknames and shit like that. But anyway, welcome to Motivation Monday. I know we on here bullshit around the side, breezing up the air with a little combo talk. Coming fresh off the weekend, guys. I don't know about you. I needed this weekend. Minimum work. I needed this because I did prior to this weekend being with minimum work, I had an 8 or 9 day run of about 16 shows. When I tell you, I've never talked to God so much. I know God was like, get this thing off my line. Every day I'm like, all right, God, come on, push me through, baby. Give me what I need, push me through. It was like that every day. So this weekend was about chilling with the friends, kicking back, doing less. You see how humid it was these days. So I'm doing less. I'm kicking AC, so the dogs are cool because I'm not really an AC dude, but I'm not gonna let my dog suffer because I'm thugging it out. You know what I mean? So very minimum, light, beautiful, God blessed weekend for me. You know what I mean? How was your weekend, Amir?
Yeah, you know what? Mine was a quiet one too. Oddly enough, I just, had some real good downtime, and I just stayed in the house. I watched some terrible movies. You know how on either on YouTube or Peacock or any of these things now, they got some really bad movies. So I watched like 3 really bad movies, and then I followed it up with really one good one. I took it back to Uptown Saturday Night with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier. I watched that, and Man,
Nice.
I got to tell you, that movie still is not only hysterically funny, but the swag in that movie when they got the scene when Harry Belafonte and Silky Slim get together and they, all talking and whatnot. I was like, yo, these dudes was dressed to the big brim hats, mean, tie game bags. I was like, it was a good look. And then the comedy is just off the hook with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier, just incredibly funny. And then
Right.
it was interesting because Flip Wilson's in that movie, Richard Pryor's in that movie. I was like, yeah, a stellar cast.
That's why I like to go back and watch those movies, man.
Yeah.
Because that's for not for nothing, but one thing that we don't do enough of today, to me, is we got together back then. Like they got together, be on production. Somebody, your man, doing a movie. All of a sudden, all 20 of the black stars is just showing face and cameos in there because it's a black movie. We all here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we need more of that, man. We so individualized, man. It's a damn shame. But I'm glad. Yeah, I feel you. I did the movie thing too. Like I said, I had time, so I watched the new Flash, bro. You know what I mean? I watched a couple of joints on, just on cable and Apple and all that. Had a good week in slow mo. Sean Harvey, talk to us, man. You had a good one?
Well, I'm glad that you guys had a good weekend. Same here. Friday I was in a weird space Friday. I didn't have a comedy show, and that's kind of weird for me. But I was home, I was relaxing, and then I just want to skip the Sunday real quick when we had all this rain. I don't know if it was raining where you guys was, but flooding, rain, Noah's Ark type situation. So I'm looking out the window, chilling and just grateful that the power's still on and hopefully that everyone's okay. But to flip back to Saturday, I did a comedy show Saturday night. I was down at the Claridge Hotel in Atlantic City. That's the Section 8 of hotels in Atlantic City. If you ever been to the Claridge, thumbs up in the chat room. Looks like the Port Authority bus terminal. And we had a ball on Saturday night, did the comedy show. But when I came back home, I totally agree with you guys, man. It was one of those situations where it was no place like home, chilled out, woke up Sunday, relaxed. It was raining. Watched the TV, I was Netflixing. I was watching a documentary about the history of the Negro League baseball, the baseball league with the Negro Baseball League.
How was that?
Oh man, it was so good. I didn't even know that. Literally, I thought the Negro league was just something that was temporary. It was a temporary league for a couple of years. No, this was a well-established league for about 30 years, and they sustained themselves. They rented out Major League Baseball stadiums, or if they couldn't use, there was a particular owner of the a team in Pittsburgh where they wouldn't the stadium wouldn't allow the ball players to use the bathroom. So this African American man was so rich that he built a stadium for his team, and they went on the road every night. So it was a very interesting documentary. It was made by Ken Burns, and it talked a lot about the Negro League in baseball before they integrated. Because my whole thing was, I really, before baseball was integrated with the Babe Ruth type of, and then the Mickey Mantles and all those guys, I never counted baseball. I didn't count it until African Americans started playing in baseball. To me, that's where the stats started. So that was a very interesting documentary, and you just learn. If you're interested and you want to learn something, you will seek and search and find out. And you'll be pleasantly surprised that you're not wasting your time when you're learning stuff. So, and I'm a history buff anyway. Shout out to the Negro League.
If you ever in Kansas City, bro, they have the museum. I got about 5 or 6 Negro League hats, different teams and jerseys. When I was down there, there's a theater directly across the street from the museum of the Negro League baseball. It's crazy, bro. Like, wow. It's a whole thing. Like Madame Tussauds, you walk in and it directs you around, and you got stuff playing on the wall, and you got items and fact tidbits to tell you everything went through. And then on your way out, right before you exit, it's like an American Doll store where you're in the department store for all the paraphernalia or attire or whatever you want to take home with you. But that's dope as hell. If you haven't heard, people, everybody look up and check that documentary out. I'm definitely going to do it. Negro League, Ken Burns, crazy. Welcome back. Motivation Monday. wanted to get this off my chest. Main topic of the day. What is truly important? I'm going to say that again. What is truly important? Because when you ask people, hey, what's important? They say all type of stuff. But when you get down, you pull some layers back and ask what's truly important. Not just a quick answer of what's important. Oh, my kid, my house, my car, my money, my job. What's truly important? Meaning, some of these things that we think is important, come to find out they're not important. I laugh today because I'm walking, paint the picture. I go into this little shopping center, my Dunkin' Donuts, to get my coffee, and then I come out the shopping center and walk like this, like maybe a small block, and I'm in the Target, the Petco, all the things I need, right? I'm out running my errands. And when I'm coming out the parking lot, I see this nice Lamborghini or Porsche or something, like it's sitting there, and I'm like, and dude had on the plate something, and it had dentist or whatever. And I just smirked to myself because I remember a time when I was going through those phases where cars were important to me.
Right.
Now, and I say phases because any young man will tell you his car phase is in one of three parts. You don't have just one part. It's the young man, right? When we dumb young, we just get old enough to the permit and all that. So that's why your car 9 times out of 10, the first one is a hoopty. You start off with a hoopty. But it ain't hoopty to you though. Yeah. This might well be a goddamn Lamborghini. This shit got holes in the floor. You put a little speaker in the back. You buffing that bitch every 2 times a day. Like, it's a piece of shit for real, but it's your first car. This your shit. So that's your young man phase. When you get to your older man phase, where now you got a bona fide job or career on the move, you know what I mean? And now you think you need something to go along with, look how you feel in life. I feel like I'm doing it. I need a new whatever. So that's what came to mind. As soon as I seen this goddamn Lamborghini, and I just chuckled to myself because I'm like, damn, T, I didn't even stop to really look at that part of the inventory of myself, but I got out of that phase so many years ago, bro, that after I got rid of the last 2 vehicles, had the car, had the truck, once the lease was up, I was like, and Uber was popping and Lyft, and then I'm looking at how much I'm going and not home and how much I do, how I move around. I'm like, dude, I'm losing money. I'm bleeding money because I think this car is important. This car ain't that important. Yeah. What is important is I get from point A to point B in a need be situation. Problem is, 80% of my time, I'm in somebody else's town or city. Yeah. So I don't even have my car. So 80% of the time, those cars are sitting or not doing no justice. But you're still paying those leasing payments, keeping that insurance up, and parking tickets if you get them, and da-da-da-da. Shit, I found out the shit wasn't important, bro. Mm-hmm. So what's really important to you? And my list is obviously health is first, right? Right at the top, because without your health, you can't do jack shit. I cross cars and things off the list. You know what I mean? Family's bumped up. Right? Only up there is 1 or 2 spot. Health is up there, 1 or 2 spot. Friends, 1, 2, 3 spot. But these are things that are truly that I find as I get older and do inventory checks and mental checks. I'm like, these are really the things that keep me going. Like when I say family, like the elderly. A lot of us don't check on them like as much as we could. And we don't think of it like that until something happens. You get that call, oh, auntie fell and broke dead, or so-and-so got hit by a car, this one's in a coma, or diabetes, or whatever. You think about it when you get those ailment calls. But you don't just think about it in general and say, hey, you know what? I wonder how my grandmother doing this week, man. Let me go pop a visit on my auntie, or my uncle who's cool, or whatever the case may be. They always tell you, in life, you got the beginning, you got the end. And at both points in your life, you're going to need the most help. As a kid, you're going to need the most help. You can't do shit in the world as a kid without your parents helping. And then you become elderly. At the end of the day, you're going to need their help again. Because now you can't do a lot of shit again because you're on the other end of the spectrum. What's important to you, Sean? Truly.
Well, first of all, thanks for that, your analogy, and thanks for sharing that whole thing about the cars, which is definitely true and which is on point. And you know what? One thing that's important to me. Oh, and by the way, Amir, it was great seeing you the other night at the comedy show. You know what's really important to me? Trust. Trust is
Mm,
really important to me now. I hold on to trust right now as a value commodity because when I was a younger man, I couldn't be, I couldn't be trusted. I, I, I there was no way that for a moment, the way I used to live, that I could
Right.
be trusted with anything. And that's what relationships, responsibilities, and anything that was going on in my life. But now, obviously, because of what I've been through in my life, I've landed in the place where trust means everything to me. And I give you an example. The other night, I'm walking around in the crib. My wife's in here. She's cooling out. Everything's good. The dog is good. My bonus son is good. Everything is paid. We good in here. And one of the contributing factors of living in where I live now and that particular night when I took a look at it, part of the serenity that I have in my crib, one of the elements was trust. Was trust. When people trust you, and back in the day, they used the analogy word is bond, which is really true. If your word is bond, all this falls into place. So I tell you right now, a great commodity for me is trust. Like you can look, I can trust you, you can trust me. It's in the universe. And that's one of the commodities that I value. I like what you talked about too, about of course, family and friends, but trust to me is been earned in my life. Took 58 years for me to get to this level of trust, but it's something that I truly value. Trust.
I like that because you flip the script off of uh, it's on yourself, but it's off yourself at the same time. Like you're valuing something that you're proud to display to your loved one. You just said like it was a time you couldn't trust me, and now I realize not only can you trust me, I realize how important it is that you are allowed and can have faith and trust in me. So I appreciate your honesty on that. Amir, how about you?
Mine is actually peace, a peaceful state and a peaceful mind. Far too often, just by virtue of life and all of the things that come up, and it stems in different phases. Both of you gentlemen are parents, so you have the pleasure of worrying about your children, good, bad, and different. And when I say worrying, I don't mean worrying in a bad sense. I mean you're concerned. You want them to be as wonderful human beings as they could be and contribute to society, and so forth and so on. Talent touched on another one. If you got elders in your family, and especially if your parents are still around, you got that whole process that are trying to deal with on a constant basis. If you're in a relationship or dating, again, same thing. But peace of mind for me has become such a major thing because once you kind of get away from all of those things, you just want to be in a state where you could just take it easy. There's no, oh my God, this is crazy over here and that's crazy over there. So I have no place where I could just zen out and really be at peace. Because I think once you're at peace, it allows you hopefully to really take a good hard look at a lot of the things that are going on in your world so that you can now put together game plans to, resolve or get some of those things in order for yourself if they're not. Um, and I think, fortunately or unfortunately, all of these things fall under these different, umbrellas and categories. The trusting, is a big part of that. To talents analogies, like you said, family and all these things are a big part of it. But some of us have family members who, you know, you never at peace with them. They're always, at odds with you for, a number of reasons. Maybe because they're at odds with themselves. So I find that for me, it's peace because I think once you find that zen within yourself, you can now kind of divulge that and spread that in the world in a way that is conducive to, helping the world be better, at least, from your standpoint and from how you're dealing with the world.
Okay, so let me throw these words on the wall, and you guys, in your own words, explain to me where they may or may not be on your list of what's truly important. First word is education. Um, I can look at this from so many different angles. First, I'm gonna look at it from myself as a young kid, adolescent, into teenage years, your early 20s, and fast forward all the way up to 50s. I find that education is super key to so much stuff of importance, because the biggest thing you'll find out about education is you never stop learning. To me, that's fucking amazing. Like you could be walking around right now, get fucking 55, 65, think you know all types of shit, and then one thing you'll sit there, because you ain't fucking know that.
Yeah.
You never stop learning. Education is key, and that's as the learner. Now let's look at it from the standpoint as the teacher, because now as parents, we're all parents. We have to turn into the teacher to our kids. We went from being that motherfucker, a class clown or teacher you don't know shit, to taking all those things that we finally accumulated knowledge-wise and turn to our kids. And no, now you know better, so you able to tell this kid and this new adolescent, no, that's wrong. You don't do that. This is why you don't do that. You do this, boom, 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 boom. So education, now we've lived long enough. We're halfway through our lives where we can see both sides of it. But I think education is super important. Sean, talk.
It's super important. Man, listen, education to me is one, it ranks up there with everything else that we do each and every day. I like the fact that, yes, even as an adult, you never, if you stop learning and you stop wondering and stop, trying to better yourself, as far as it could be something simple. It could be your vocabulary. It could be learning a different language. It could be like I said last night about the documentary that I watched. There was a lot of things that I didn't even know about the Negro League. Education is around us constantly, especially with the internet, social media. Remember, we had the encyclopedias back in the day. We had to go to the library, and it was a whole lot of work we had to do. We don't even really have to do that work to educate. You go on YouTube, learn how to put up sheetrock, learn how to train your dog. There is no excuse in the times that we live in today that we can better ourselves with education and knowledge. If you're not doing it with the resources that are actually right in front of your hands that are free, education continues, I believe, till we take our last breath. It's never a time in our lifespan that we shouldn't be learning anything new or having conversations about learning and education. And I think that it also sparks within the individual a self-esteem. You feel good about yourself. You can have conversations with other people instead of looking like an idiot and bowing out of conversations that you don't know what you're talking about. Being around people who are educated also helps you. You can learn from some dumb dudes too. But being around people that are educated can also help you as far as learning. Yeah, we all should always learn from everybody.
Constantly, it never stops. Amir, education.
I think that, both of you guys, pretty much nailed it. I think the one thing that I'd add, or the one thing that I, hope that we just start to do a better job of, education, comes in so many formats. Obviously, there is book smart and university and college smart and, scholastic smart, but then there's, just everyday life. And if, you're smart enough, there's a way to bridge the two worlds in a way that almost seems easy, but really isn't, because, those of us who have, in some cases gotten the education part down, we may or may not have life down, because education just gives you models of things. Life gives you real lessons in real time sometimes. So, to like I said, to Sean's point in particular, you're constantly learning. You're always in a constant, rotation of learning. But then the biggest thing, and this is something that both you gentlemen have heard me say over the, course of the last few years, we have to get back to critical thinking. So many people now have become, I don't know, stigmatized or hypnotized, I should say, by social media, by the ability to have all of this information at their fingertips, that we don't always do our fact checking like we should. We don't always do the solid work that we need to do in order to make sure if we're going to divulge information, there's some validity to it, and we're adding to the bigger picture versus taking away. Because when you put out false information, now you got to go back, you got to retract it. Somebody has to go through the process of figuring out whether or not whatever it is you said makes sense. So I just, hope that we get to a space and a place where we understand that, like you said, constant education is a necessary thing. So kudos to education.
Okay, so next word I'm gonna splat on the wall, gentlemen. And this, I'm torn. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer for this, but wealth. How truly important is wealth? Because there's people out here not wealthy and living happy lives and getting it done. And then, of course, there's people out here wealthy and getting on submarines and doing stupid shit. Look at the Titanic. What's your thoughts on wealth?
You listen, wealth is important. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's important. I mean, for me, it is. Listen, I'm in a relationship. I'm a married man. It doesn't mean that marriage doesn't mean anything. It just you could be in a relationship without being married. You have to have some type of money. You got to have some type of wealth to be in some type of relationship.
I think it's a difference, Sean. I think it's a difference in having some type of money to pay your bills and get by. We're talking wealth, though. That's a different thing. Our community suffers from lack of generational wealth. Like nobody has enough to leave somebody for the most. We're high percentage, don't have 90 percentile of Black people in the Black community have not created or sustained generational wealth and figured that out. So that's
okay. So right. So if you're going that way, it goes back to what you just said. There's two reasons I believe. Well, there's multiple reasons, multiple situations that go with wealth in the Black community. Of course, one we just talked about it is education. So education plays a part in wealth, but also we've been as Americans, Black African Americans, have been suppressed with the financial system in this country due to racism that won't allow us to have that type of wealth that you're talking about as far as a generational situation with wealth, where it's been known where banks, mainstream banks have denied African Americans loans that was making more money than their white counterparts, and the white counterparts were still getting approved with these loans. So if you talk about wealth, wealth is important, but in the community, in our community, I think that we're hamstringed through racism, we're hamstringed through education, like you talked about, and we're hamstringed through just not knowing our financial, liabilities in life. So that has a lot to do with generational wealth, right? In the African American community, it might be 1% of the population of African Americans that could say that they can do that. But a lot of the reasons why, one of the reasons why that we don't sustain wealth in the African American community, I believe, is financial racism.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. And then we got to take some of the blame too, because our culture in our community, we have this thing where we don't really, how do I word it? We're not really, again, we're individualized. So you can't be that much individualized to sustain generational wealth. It's like this. What we're known to do is, let's say my mom was the best in a soul food restaurant. 60 years. Staple of the community. Make money, handle this, boom, boom. My mom gets old or ill or passed away, and I got 5 sisters and 2 brothers. We could easily step in and keep that going. That's generational. She's gone now. It's handed down to the. I've seen so many people don't want the fucking family business.
Right. Well, right.
So it ends right there. You know, the motherfuckers always say, you know, we want to break the chain of prison, high school to prison pipeline and all that shit. Same thing with this. We're breaking a chain that's actually a good link in the chain, something good for our generations to come. But the following generation be like, you know what? Let's sell that shit. Put the money, keep it
Split
moving.
it up.
It ended generational wealth in that instance right there. So yeah,
True.
you're right. We got a lot of obstacles and haters along the way to try to stunt that. But we've been jumping over hurdles. We've been Jesse Owens in America for fucking years. So we've been jumping over these hurdles. Not that I'm bragging to jump over, but I am bragging because of our resiliency. And here's some shit in your fucking face and that could go fall in your lap. You don't even want it.
Yeah.
That's grandma's shop. That's grandpa's shop. That's such a, I don't even want it. How much you give me for it? Right then, you just ended it. Generational wealth.
True.
No, you're right. I think,
True.
again, just to reiterate, I think one of the things that we're really up against too is if you're not familiar with a specific topic, then you have no understanding of it. You have no reason to really delve into it. You have no reason to pony up to it or to get close to it so that you can really, get a feel for it. Wealth, I think, is a major, major thing for our community in particular, only from this standpoint. It allows us to have options if you do it right. And that's really what wealth is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you options. One of the problems, and this stems to something that Talon said a little while ago, where we falter is not so much that we don't have options. We just look at life, unfortunately, from a very small perspective, generally speaking, not individually, but generally speaking. And I say that to say this: I got a Gucci belt on. I got a Ferragamo belt. I don't know if y'all remember a couple of years ago when the Gucci belts and the Ferragamo belts were the things. The belt cost but the belt costs $300 or whatever the case may be. But it's a belt. You know what I mean? And its job is to really just hold up your pants. It's not anything more or less than that. But we were specifically wearing our clothes so that the belt was seen much more so than the rest of the rest of your clothes or whatever. And then you add to it our affinity to want to look wealthy versus actually do the work to become wealthy. And that for us is a real misnomer, because when I look at us as a community, generally speaking, that's one of our greatest unfortunate things that we do. I have no problem with the name brands, whatever they may be. But I think that it's odd that you could possibly take the same amount of money that you might buy, let's just say for Jordan, for the sake of this conversation, Jordans, which is about $230, I guess, a pair. I don't know. I've only had maybe one pair of Jordans in my life, but $230. I don't know how much Nike stock is, but let's just say it's 100. So you could have gotten two different forms of Nike stock for the same $230 that you would pay for Jordans. Allow that to mature, and then you can go out and get as many pairs of Jordans as you like. But we don't look at it like that. Our job is to put the Jordans on our feet so that we're standing in the neighborhood and technically trying to make people who are already in the same boat that we in jealous in a space that we all in at the same time, which is silly. Yet some of the other communities that we speak of, when you go out and you have the opportunity to either converse or just be in and around them, you take a good hard look, and these dudes have on Gap t-shirts, but they're worth $800 million. You'd be like, this dude is rocking a Gap t-shirt. He didn't put polo, he didn't put any of that stuff. He got on a regular Gap t-shirt, but his bank account is 800 million strong. That's the difference. We have to do a better job of understanding the use of money, the logic of money, and then what it can technically do once you acquire it the right way and then utilize it the right way. So financial literacy is, something that escapes us, not us all, but a good portion of us. And if we can, add that to the crux of things that we need to do in order to, get to the spaces we need to get to, I think that's really where wealth would, help so many of us
Everything you just said is perfect for segueing into the whole point of, one of the things I was going to splat on the wall is things. I said earlier about, cars, and because cars fit under the bracket of just things, you know what I mean? And that we deem in certain periods of our life is important. You just hit the nail on the head when you say, yo, we spend so much energy and time to look the part.
Yeah.
And if you peel one fucking layer back, we're nowhere near the part.
Right.
Then you got the rich motherfuckers going out of their way to not look the part.
Right.
So he can have a good day with his kids in a regular part.
Well,
if he come out there looking like 800 million, he's not gonna have no fun. Everybody's on his back.
Well, let me put my Ferragamo belt on Facebook Marketplace.
First of all, my nigga, go fucking shit on Facebook Marketplace. I spent $600 on my bike, and my boy had a better bike for 60 cash. I wanted to murder this thing. Where the fuck you get that bike? At Facebook Marketplace. I murdered this. I spent $600 on a cruiser. This nigga got the fly shit. Pulls up to the crib on the bike rack. I said, that shit fly. Yeah, just got it, man. You ain't gonna believe this shit. Facebook Marketplace, $60. I said, I'll murder you, nigga. Give me the address. I'm gonna kill both of y'all. I'm gonna kill the nigga that stole it. And I'm gonna kill you. And I'm gonna be happy riding my $600 bike.
Right.
Because you're gonna be in the street, you son of a bitch. But yeah, it piggyback onto things because I think we can all admit we've been guilty of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of this comes from us being an oppressed people for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these chains take a very long time to break free from. And that's definitely one of them. You remember that one of the biggest phrases in the Black community was, eyes bigger than your belly and spend the money before you get it.
Yeah.
And Sean, like I know, our line of work is very tempting. I say this to people all the time, like it's very tempting out there when your money comes fast. It usually goes fast. People that fucking blood, sweat, and tears and fucking got calluses on their hands, putting 40 hours of fucking manual blue collar labor.
Yeah.
When that check hit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you running and gunning, thank you, good night, and you got your money, you go to the next show, and that money, get everybody some pizza. That money, that money can't stop bleeding.
Right. It's so true.
It take you about 10, depending on who you are, 10 to 15 to 20 years to figure it out. Like, whoa.
Right.
It's a job. I can't be mad at people that they don't respect my job, and I don't respect my job.
Right.
I done made $800 a night. By the time I came home and lay down, tipsy, coming in my door, I done laid down with $320.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did the night go? They gave me $800 at the club. I come through, I'm gonna shut my pocket on the desk, put my shit on, go to sleep. When I wake up, go get some coffee, start putting the money back together because it's all fucked up, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And then, the worst part is that 300 that you talk about, we counted 3 times after we counted it the first time. It's still the same 325. And then we go, uh-oh.
Yeah, I remember I used to be an asshole, right? So I come in, do that shit, throw the money on the dresser, whatever, go to bed, tired. But finally get up and get the money. Like he said, you count this shit 3 times. When I know I had got paid 8 and it's 320 hit, I start calling people that I was hanging with last. I'm like, yo, what did I loan you some money or something? Like this? I had a good time. I'm like, nobody owe me nothing. Nah.
And it's weird. I talk about financial literacy. I take my merch money and go, oh man, merch money. Yeah, I'm gonna spend all that on this. I should have been like, wow, I got an extra $300, $400 in merch, but no, we gotta spend that. We already got the money. They paid us. Everything else was free money. Was it free money?
Right. Not free
Was
money.
it free? You made enough money to replenish your merchandise, but no, we're popping bottles and I don't even drink.
True stuff.
Hey, let
Get
me tell you,
everybody a
but,
drink.
right, and then you, I'm telling you, you won't fucking get it until the next day when you go count that shit. Like you start looking on the floor, like you drop shit. You ain't drop shit. This what it is left. This was left. You drop you
And,
patting pockets and shit. And I used to call motherfuckers like, yo, what's good? We had a good time. Like, yeah, it's great. Word, word. So who I loan money to? You ain't loan money to nobody.
but and listen, it goes back to what Amir Silly, A-Rock was just talking about. How we have to make sure we're noticed. We got the fly belt on. We popping the bottles. A lot of bottle popping, especially with young folks. And we did it all. We all went to the club back in the day. We needed a bottle. We needed that VIP. Do we really need VIP? I don't need VIP today. I'm
You
good.
know, it's so it's so funny, Sean. Even when you say that, because like you said, now you go out. We older now, so I go out and I see the younger generation, and I'm happy for them. But they got the chains on and it's iced out and the pendant and the rings and all this stuff, and I'll be thinking to myself, I'm like, man. I said, like Talon said, you go through these phases in life, and you think to yourself, like, I'm doing it. Everybody, all eyes on me, and all this stuff. But you're also putting yourself in such people's sights for all the wrong reasons versus just going out, like you said, having a good time. You slide out of there with no issues, no problems, make it on to whatever your next situation is, and you just had a good time. But we have been duped into this ideology that we have to show off, we have to show people that whatever, and then you just hear the horror stories after horror stories, and then I'm talking across the board when you start talking about the entertainment industry. And people ending up broke, and like T said, you're getting it fast and furious because maybe you're on the radio, or you have a specific venue that is really making it okay for you to live a certain lifestyle. But we have got to just do a better job of understanding that is momentary. It's here right now, but it can be gone in the blink of an eye. So let me do something different. Let me do better. Let me make sure I put myself in a position to win at all costs, and that requires financial literacy. It requires us really taking a moment.
Well, when I hear you, Amir, and I'm internalizing what you're saying. It goes back to and I use this analogy with basketball. Like they give the NBA rookie players, they come before they even get into the league to get acclimated to whatever teams they're on. They give them these classes, the do's and don'ts in life, before they get their first check. And I think most of us need to take class. But you talk about education. We need to take these classes on the do's and don'ts of what not to do. Hey, you go out tonight. I don't know if you guys ever to ask yourself this question, like, all right, I'm going out tonight. Keep it at $100. Keep it at $50. Keep it. But we come back when we spent three. We spent three.
I can't do it, bro. I can't do it because it varies night to night. I don't know what tonight is going to cost my happiness. You know what I mean? Like
right.
the happiness budget fluctuates.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't call it. Like there's nights you do more talking than sipping, and then there's nights you do more sipping than talking. Then there's nights you entertaining other people, like being hospitable. Like here's the thing about me. This is something that I had to learn to balance over the years. I love what I do, first of all. And a lot of that has to do with my love for making people happy and smile and laugh and all that. I genuinely just love that. Like, for years, motherfuckers had to make me, and I'm a business major, but they had to make me clamp down on my business part. Like, bro, what you're doing is a business, bro. I know you want to do it and you want to help this person, help that person, but you can still do that, but at least set it up and do your shit, some critical thinking with it, and put it in place where it's doing what it's supposed to be doing for the long run. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I got it. And I started doing it because I really had so much love for what I do, bro. I just do it. If I can make people happy or make a room full of people happy, laugh, or whatever, I'm all in. But the ultimate thing of it is this: you can't put a budget on happiness or how you're going to feel that day. Each day is its own individual day. So there's been days I can go to my local bar and I'm more into the sports than the actual drinks. I mean, I want to be around people, want the camaraderie, but I might have had 2-3 less than I normally would have had just because I'm into the game. The Knicks in the playoffs, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers. My shit ain't the same balance. Today I did more beer than liquor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I could go in there one night and a goddamn game on.
Yeah.
Some bitches.
Right.
And we went, me and the mirror, and mind our business. But the bitches gravitated to me and the mirror. Now we got to buy 4 more drinks.
Yes.
We can't let these bitches know we poor.
Yeah, right.
I
I do the same thing.
Give me my Gucci belt. Sure, get your Ferragamo out.
Yeah.
That's
No
real talk.
disrespect, but
that's real. That is so real.
So that's a real thing. I can't really. So I've never been. I will put it in my pocket, Sean. The closest I came to what you're talking about is I'll put a certain amount in my pocket. Like I'll put 100 in my pocket. Just gonna have a little fun, whatever. Right? That don't mean I'm going to not go over that 100. I might go. I can put ATM, whatever. But at least that's a start because that's a guesstimate of it's gonna be this kind of night. I'm telling myself, but I'm being those. We socialize. You get over there, ain't no fucking tell.
Yeah, it's the same with me. Had a comedy show the other night. Some of my supporters came out. We was doing the whole, we had a good time. And some of the females, I said, listen, get them that. And next thing you know, but I love
entertainment.
I love entertaining people, talking to people that had drink. At the end of the night, I settled my bar tab. Now this is somebody that's sober as hell. I go over, I settle my tab. Of course, tip the young lady. But I felt so good about it. But I didn't know how much I was going to spend. I don't know. Should I leave my debit card home? I don't know.
That settle the tab shit is a motherfucker. You ever notice when they hand you that tab? Now your vision don't work good. Now
settling the tab is almost a lonely feeling. It's like the DJ putting equipment away when the show's over. Everybody wants to request a song while the party's going on, but at the end of the night, the DJ is by himself. That's how that tab is. It's you, the tab, the person, and God.
I'm so mad because that's where I gotta go right now. I gotta go DJ. So now I'm visualizing the end of my life with fucking chords up. God. First of all, take this with you. From me to you, my brother, with nothing but love. Take this motherfucking ride, yo.
No doubt.
Motivation Monday, if you're just tuning in, your boy Talon Harris, Amir Silly, Sean Harvey. I'm about to dip out, but it's about 10, 12 more minutes of show. Guys, continue on, and we'll check in later.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro. Be safe, King.
Yes, sir.
But Amir, I still think that again, just the love, like for example, when I saw you the other night at the show, and it was just this loving embrace, and it was just like I was just so happy to see you. And genuinely, I was happy to see you. I didn't even know. I reached out to you to invite you out. I didn't know if you received the message, but when I saw you, it was like that moment, like, yo, my guy's here. Come on and have a good time. And if I would saw you throughout the night, I'd have been like, Amir, do you want anything? Yeah. But that's just the way it is with that. You talk about that all the time with that positive energy.
Yeah. It's so funny, Sean, because like you said, I did get the invite. I didn't, reach back out to you because I wasn't sure what else I had on my agenda. Quiet as it's kept, I left you and I jetted back to Brooklyn, where I live. But some of my guys do a cigar event every Thursday in Brooklyn, and I hadn't been to it yet. So they've been on me like, yo, man, when you gonna come to our joint, whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I got Sean's joint, and then I got to get back to Brooklyn to this cigar joint. So I was like, let me see if I could, maneuver these two things. And thankfully, I was able to do it. But to your point, and it's funny because I think T had mentioned this, earlier in the show. like you said, things that are important to you. I think it's important a lot of times to not only honor, uh, when somebody requests something of you, but also just to your point, to be the beacon. Like, sometimes when you show up to events or you do specific things, it brings such joy and such positive energy to others. Some of your morning, some of the other morning veterans were there. I think
Yeah,
Lynette Serrano, I mean, not
yeah,
Lynette, what you call it, a few of them were there. I saw my friend Annie. I hadn't seen her in a while, so it was good to see her. Hot Sauce, I
yeah,
always loved, talking to Hot Sauce and building with him. I saw what you call it was there. The other co-host, former co-host,
yeah.
what's her name? She was there. So, it was just good to see all of these beautiful people all in the same place, finally up close and personal. Because she even said to me, she said, Amir, I didn't realize you was this daggone tall. I said, nobody does. I said, because y'all are seeing me inside that little box when you look at us, on social media. I said, but bigger and better than that, though, is the getting together. I feel like the one thing that the pandemic did was it gave us new family in a
Mhm.
real sense. You know what I mean? Because we all started to build, our camaraderie and our relationships through the pandemic, whether it was, your morning show, Motivational Mondays, which I'm, now doing with talent. I think we're going on 2 years, almost 3 years now, and all these
Right.
other various shows. But it gave us the opportunity to see other sides of each other because so many of us were just, used to just seeing you out. So, well, he's out. He's a social butterfly. But a lot of us didn't know that we had great conversation. We were great conversationalists. A lot of us didn't know that people brought other things to the table in terms of, their ideologies and, the way that they see the world, and we got a chance to see that and build from it. And I think that's one of the things that has made where we are now and what's going on now so dope is now we can tap into that. We can utilize it as a way to not only strengthen ourselves, but to help strengthen and sharpen the people who are around us. Because I think you said something, along those lines earlier. The learning curve really comes from, the people who are around you. And again, it doesn't always have to be people who are super smart or things like that, but it could be people who have had experiences that you may not have had. And once you have the opportunity to hear, listen, or at least, have some idea about it, you can tap in from the standpoint of saying, oh my God, certain things that they've been through, I've been through something similar, if it's not the exact same thing. At which point now there's a connection, there's a reason, or there's a way for you to now at least build from that point going forward. And I think that that's so important, especially, in this day and age. We all, again, are, at a specific stages of our lives and we have had specific things going on. But thankfully, a lot of us are still standing. Thankfully, a lot of us are still in, great spirits and energy overall and generally speaking. And I think that we are continuing to learn from each other and grow from not only our own personal development, but listening to what others who are in our circles have gone through. So, I can't get enough of that, man. That's why I really come out to get into
Yeah.
that energy and feed into
And
that.
it's infectious as far as the love and the respect that and the newfound and love respect that we've had since we went over the pandemic, back in the day, where now that we're all outside, because prior to the coronavirus, it was almost a robotic situation with all of us in society. We were just doing the same things over and over again, whether it was entertainment or work or whatever we was doing in life. And then when the world was about to come to an end 3 years ago, and we were all sick and shut in. And then when most of us, when we came back outside, you're right, we have this newfound respect and this newfound perspective on life. That's why a lot of us, we get together. And now we really do say to each other, it's really good to see you. We said it so robotically back in the day, like how we, oh, hey, have a good day, good morning, how are you? It's very robotic. Today, it really does have significant meaning when you say it's really good to see you or have a good day. We really do mean it because of what we've been through in the last couple of years. So it's very meaningful when we all get together because we don't have tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. So when we're in that space with folks that are that have the same energy and the same love, we truly, truly appreciate it. At least I know I do. Because a lot of us are not here anymore.
You know,
And that's why it's the people always say, here today, gone tomorrow. No, it's here one moment, gone the next. So a lot of this we have to put in perspective. And that's one of the things I've learned in the last couple of years is really cherish the people that are in my life and people that I know, so recreationally, contractually, people, relationship wise, cherish these folks. And for the new folks that I don't even know that are coming into my life in the near future. But I believe at this stage of my life, I'm open. I have my arms open, my heart's open to any new people that come in my life without any of these barriers that I've had in my life prior. So because now that I talked about it earlier, to have that trust, that respect, and that love, and the personal growth to allow new people in my life. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm excited to meet new people in my life. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm ready to meet new people and show them the same type of love and respect that I have for the people that are in my life right now. I'm excited about that.
You know, it's so funny. I was just going to add to that by saying, drink in these moments. You nailed it. Drink in the moments. We are so afraid to immerse ourselves in the moment. That's all you have is the actual moment when things are unfolding. I had a really cool conversation with my mom the other day. We were talking and just saying, things that happen generally speaking to us. And this goes for everybody who's listening and watching right now and who will see this later. Drink in your moments. And as best you can, try not to compare your moments to or with somebody else's moments. And I'll tell you why. Because your moments are just as important as anybody else's. Unfortunately, we have this warped way of seeing things like, well, I saw Amir, he was with Sean Harvey, so his relationship to Sean Harvey may be better, or that makes him better because he's got that relationship, versus your relationship to Tracy Morgan or whoever.
Right.
It's all the same. The reality of it all is we just were fortunate enough to be in the moment at the same time. The other day, you spoke of, like you said, me seeing you. I hadn't seen Face Man in quite some time, but it was a super pleasure to see that man do what I had come to know him being able to do, which was his stand up, sit down, ability to just make you think, but make it funny. And to watch him do it, now after going through some of the things that he's been through, was lighting my heart. It was like, wow, this is dope. We have to really, again, just take all of those things that we see, bottle them up, and realize that every moment that we get to have our eyes open, we get to breathe, take another breath, help somebody, whatever it may be very thankful and mindful of that. Because I saw another post today, and he happened to be a very good friend of mine, and his and Malik's is the same. It's 23 years since we lost Conrad McCray. He and Malik were a month apart in terms of us losing him. And I saw that today, and I was like, wow, it's 23 years since we lost that good brother. But I bring that to the conversation because I want you to think about the members of your family and friends that you are connected to who you might lose over the next few years or weeks or days or whatever. That's why you got to be happy to speak to them. Hey, you all right over there? You good? Good, man. I'm glad to hear. I'm celebrating you. I want nothing but the best for you. Let's move away from this doing everything where we find ourselves so, in these boxes that we don't take the time to pour into and to share and celebrate each other. Y'all work together. If you can show up to something and help somebody, do it. It doesn't cost you anything. It costs me my time. So what? You have time, and there's nothing wrong with you doing what you need to do to be great. So just be great. Just do what you can. You know what I mean?
You can't listen. You can't Can't keep it unless you give it away. You don't know how good it is to check on folks. Hit somebody up randomly. Just text them or call them. Just checking on you, see how you're doing. You would be amazed how good you feel when you reach out to others to see how you're doing. All right, brother.
Yes,
All
sir. We got an hour in. It's Motivational Monday. Y'all know how we do. This is myself, Amir Sealy, A-Rock Sealy. We got Sean Harvey, the Sean Harvey Morning Show. Y'all saw the king, New York king of comedy talent. He had to run. We love y'all, as Talent always says, and ain't nothing you can do about it. You know mine. It's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Run with that. You'll see a lot of doors open for yourself and get a lot of great things happening in your world. You know that man over there. He's always upbeat and always got you in the swing of things, no matter where you see him. Sean, I love you. Salute, King.
Yep. Love you too, bro.
Let's do this again. 7 days. Good night, everybody.
Appreciate you. Yo, good night, everybody.
It's Monday, cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then, this is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday, and you ain't waking up with a taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore. You fucked up, you understand? Because Monday is